I love you, Allah.
Now let's talk a little bit about what does it mean to have a heart and not think with it. Because you would think brains think. Why is Allah saying hearts think? لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا. And fiqh is deep understanding. Because Allah says revelation, ayat, faith, it lies inside the heart. So when I walk down the street, and maybe I'm walking down the street with a geologist, or a botanist, somebody who studies plants, they can tell me the species of a tree, they can tell me how old a tree is, they can tell me what the best environment is to grow this tree to its optimal, span, or it's about to die or whatever. They can tell me all this stuff about this tree. I don't know any of that stuff. I don't study botany. I don't know any of that stuff. But I can tell you that if I look at that same tree from my heart, not from my brain alone, from my heart, I'm reminded that Allah brings life out of death, because this tree at one point was just a seed. And Allah brought good out of it. Allah brought life out of it. So I'm reminded of my own mortality when I see a tree. A scientist can look at the sky and tell me a lot of things. I can look at the sky and just find humility. I just look at the sky and just say, Allah Azza wa Jal says, "Hal tara min futur?" You see any cracks up in there? In other words, you can look at the world around you from a scientific lens, from a skeptic lens. You can look at it from it's just scenery passing you by. But if you look at the world around you with your heart, then you'll see something else. You'll see what other people don't see. I'll give you an experiment I did myself. You try this experiment yourself. I'm going down the highway, and the Quran's view is that everything that you see physically in the world around you can turn into a spiritual reminder. Everything is an ayah. Okay, let's put that to the test. So I was driving with a bunch of guys to some college program one time, and they were speeding. They were going like 90 miles an hour. And before I told them to slow down, just immediately I said, just the fact that they're speeding and cutting people off, I was reminded, كَلَّا بَلْ تُحِبُّونَ الْعَاجِلَةَ. No, you human beings, you have an inherent urge to want to rush. You get a kick out of speed. Allah mentions that in the Quran. Them speeding became a reminder of something Allah says. Like how well Allah knows us. أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ. I start looking out the window and I see something that reminds me of this ayah. I see there are cows that are grazing. And the car goes by them, and any other animal, when a car goes by, a high-speed object goes by, it reacts. Birds fly off. Lizards go back into a hole. A deer is kind of dumb. It runs into the car. But like a cow, you know how it reacts? It doesn't. It just stays where it is. Its fur, your car whisks by it, maybe 2-3 feet away from it. It's right on the grass, right on the edge, right there. Its fur goes like that. It's like, you can feel the wind on its fur, and it still just continues to mow. Just continues to eat its grass. It does not care. It is completely oblivious to its surroundings. And then at that very moment I said, oh wow, subhanallah. When Allah talked about people that are heedless, He compared them to cattle. أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ. They're like cattle, they are even more lost. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْغَافِلُونَ. They're the heedless. What could be a bigger example of heedlessness than cattle? Allah didn't even compare it to any other animal. Because other animals react. Other animals have sharp reflexes. Cattle don't. Even that became a reminder. Then we're driving and I see a billboard. It was a billboard about buying a home, right? So this has got a picture of a house and there's a family. They're hugging each other, And it says, "Own the American dream." And I looked at that and I said, "Subhanallah." First ayah that came in my head, "Innahu kana fi ahlihi masrura." He used to be happy with his family. Another ayah came in my head, وَمَسَاكِنُ تَرْضَوْنَهَا أَحَبَّ إِلَيْكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَجِهَادٍ فِي سَبِيلِهِ. The homes that you love to have, if they are more beloved to you than Allah and His Messenger, and struggling in their path. SubhanAllah. Everything can become an ayah. Not a thing around you won't be. Everything will be. This is if you have a heart that seeks to think.